Is there a misogynist culture in the UK police force? Experts answer in the affirmative, and Prime Minister Boris Johnson is also taking the authority to court. Accordingly, the murder of Sarah Everard is not an extremely isolated incident. Prime Minister Boris Johnson criticized the police for dealing with violence against women following the verdict in the case of Sarah Everard, a London woman who was murdered by a police officer. Do the police take these problems seriously enough? It's unbearable. I think people feel that they don't, and they are not wrong, Johnson said in an interview with The Times. Nevertheless, the police can be trusted in principle, the Conservative politician continued. In the case of the 33-year-old Everard, the perpetrator had tricked his victim into believing that he had reasons to arrest her and was able to bring her under his control. One of the reasons why he was given the maximum sentence this week is to spend the rest of his life in prison. Critics see the crime not only as an extremely individual case, but the result of a misogynist culture within the police itself. Insiders report that colleagues who are guilty of assault are covered. The perpetrator in the Everard case is said to have attracted attention several times through exhibitionism and to have been notorious among colleagues for his inappropriate behavior towards women. The police are also accused of not taking reports from women about sexual assault seriously. A senior North Yorkshire police officer also drew heavy criticism, saying that Everard could have resisted the false arrest. Even tips from Scotland Yard, for example, to get help from passers-by or to dial the emergency number if you are approached by a single plainclothes police officer and have doubts about his authenticity, were criticized as absurd and impossible. The London police are now under internal investigations following the verdict against the confessed police officer in the murder of Sarah Everard. It is investigating why previous allegations against Everard's murderer were not pursued and why they did not prevent his hiring in 2018, the responsible Secretary of State Kit Malthouse told the BBC on Friday. The Met, as the capital city police are called, had no knowledge that the man was known by colleagues under the nickname Rapist, said Malthouse. British media had reported that the 48-year-old was named because of his intrusive behavior towards women. This is something that needs to be investigated and understood as part of our teaching about this terrible incident, Malthouse said. The 48-year-old perpetrator had been sentenced to the maximum sentence, whole life sentence, for kidnapping, rape and murder. This means that he has no prospect of release and will have to stay behind bars for the rest of his life. He had kidnapped 33-year-old Everard at a police checkpoint. According to a report in the Times newspaper, internal investigations are also ongoing against 5 police officers who are said to have shared sexist, racist and homophobic material in chats with the later perpetrator months before the murder of Sarah Everard. Malthouse announced that London police would work hard to rebuild people's trust. It's a very, very difficult time for thousands and thousands of cops out here who have to work harder, much harder, to win the public's trust, they wrote. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.